something similar. I've been saying that carnival's around the corner, and it's like people. I don't know if it's that people are so afraid or fearful of the crime situation, or they are just not spending like in past years before COVID when on the carnival front. But it still doesn't seem like you're not really feeling that carnival spirit that some people are saying the soca not soca. So I think even when you look at that, it says a lot about the country. And even from Tobago, I think we can't not speak about Tobago in this conversation because imagine Tobago is starting off the year on the very first day by recording a murder. Imagine you're seeing a situation where on Saturday night there was a shooting in Scarborough in front of the port, an area where it's supposed to be very busy, and 4 persons were shot in that incident. So Tobago, we need to speak about Tobago in this conversation.
Kevin, the thing is, I said it yesterday, and I'll repeat myself this morning. I really hope Tobago doesn't lose. We refer to Tobago as a gem. I really hope it doesn't lose that status. It seems as though it's heading that way, but I'm hoping that given that it's a start, it can be cut out and dealt with beforehand. But you're absolutely right. The soca isn't soaking this year. I don't know. People are not. There are two things. One, I don't want to say that Trinidad and Trinidadians don't have money because, I mean, we see some people spending, and even in regards to like fireworks sales across TNT, it's amazing at times. Yeah, exactly. But then the other aspect is that I don't know if people just want to leave their homes. Like, I don't know if people are really wanting to take that chance anymore and leave your home. Because as you mentioned at the start of the conversation, you don't know where you're going to be when a stray bird might just fly by.
Exactly, and you're absolutely correct in saying that. You imagine after 6 a.m. you're having a shooting at the breakfast in Port of Spain, an area where there's supposed to be some sort of presence of police. You're close to the cruise ship port, you're close to the Hart Regency, and also Radisson, where a lot of tourists are staying for Carnival, and you're generally in Port of Spain, the capital. So I think a lot of people are very much fearful about crime and just probably being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Because what you're seeing now in terms of the types of crimes that criminals are not fearful anymore. They are just going anywhere. If you are the intended target, they are coming after you. It doesn't matter where you are. You saw the shooting on the avenue. I think it was last Thursday or Friday morning where the young lady was killed. And so criminals are just coming after people. It doesn't matter.
Well, the funeral is to be held this morning, later today. But Kemal, thank you very much. Like I mentioned, I know at times it seems very frustrating because we've had these conversations previously. But it's just a matter of, because there's no sense of direction, the conversation must continue in order to hopefully stimulate some mindsets. And, well, the most important word there is hopefully. So, Kemal, thank you very much for your time this morning, and we look forward to further conversations.
Sure. Have a great day. Thank you so very much for the opportunity.
Take care, Kemal. Kemal Pascal, former National, Regional, Commonwealth Youth Parliamentarian, joining me on the program this morning. You see, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, what you're realizing is that it's just a constant cycle. As you're hoping that things get better and things improve, it just seems as though that we're going absolutely nowhere but further down. That sentence doesn't necessarily make sense. Yeah, we are going somewhere. We are going down. We are going further down. It's a struggle. Your mind becomes so occupied with looking around you all the time and just trying to be cognizant of your whereabouts and who is around you or what is around you. Sometimes, your mind becomes so consumed, you cannot help but live with paranoia and fear. That's how society is now. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break here on the program.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
I am Rondell Donowa, attorney at law and host of Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Strictly Legal is a legal program geared towards informing you, the public, of your legal rights, responsibilities, and remedies. So be viewing Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas, and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
My name is Carl Media. I'm the founder and the host of Ever Increasing Voice Ministries. Join me every Saturday and Sunday on WESN, this powerful station, at 9 a.m. on Saturdays, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. nightly. Also on Sundays, I'll be on at 7 a.m., 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. at night time. When you come here, we are getting people heavenly ready.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing on.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
The newest book is here, Closer to the Church, the debut novel by author and former mayor Louis Lee Singh. Available at all the home store branches, Barataria, West Mall, Chaguanas and C3 San Fernando. Paper-based bookshop 10 Nook Avenue St. Anne's, WESN 30A Gattaca Street Woodbrook, Metropolitan Bookshop Ariapita Avenue Woodbrook, and all RIK bookstores nationwide. Available online as paperback on Amazon.com and Kindle for e-readers. For more info, call 628-5835 or 389-6504. Also available from author Louis Lee Singh, I Used to Live in Heaven, Letters to My Granddaughters, and Local Government in Trinidad, Conspiracy Against the People.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us this morning. So we mentioned Carnival in my last conversation, and one thing is, this is a very short season. It's really, I know Carnival, some people say began before Christmas, some people say the official start is Boxing Day in many instances. But like I said, it's a rather short season. So let's see what's happening with the FETS Promoters Association here in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm joined by spokesperson Paige Leon, and she's with us virtually. Good morning, Mr. Leon. Welcome to the program.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much for having me. And of course, good morning to your viewers and your listeners, wherever you may be.
Well, thank you very much for joining me indeed. Well, as I've mentioned in my introduction, a rather short season. I know there are challenges associated with the hosting of carnival events and FETS in particular, but thus far, has the process seen any improvements with the challenges that the association has faced over the last few years? Has it proved to be smooth, though it's a rather short season?
We haven't had major complaints over the last few weeks during the events that have been done so far. They've generally been well attended, and we've not had our event producers, giving us any feedback that's negative. So I think that so far so good. We can stand on that.
Well, I think that's very good to learn that, so far not very many negative comments. I know one of the issues or one of the concerns expressed previously was fewer ticket sales, but that has not seemed to be the case thus far.
So there is a mixed bag of reviews on that. There are far fewer events this year than there would have been in a year where there's a longer season, because it's really a 5-week crunch post-Christmas into a carnival season. So yes, there may have been one or two of events where the ticket sales were less, but as I said, so far, I think events have been reasonably well attended, and it's quite early, unfortunately, in a very short season to make a determination about whether or not the carnival will be well patronized. We're seeing people absolutely enjoying the crop of music that's, come out this year. That always makes a great big difference to how vibrant the season is. So we're looking forward. We're still in just sort of, week 2 of events. So we had our first week on January the 1st. We had another weekend this weekend that was reasonably well attended from what we can tell. So let's see how we go in the 3rd week and the 4th week.
Now, looking at some comments that you've made previously, that in some instances people may find it rather difficult because pets are becoming like a luxury item. Though it is very early in a short season, because of those comments previously, do you expect it to be successful for the Promoters Association?
I do expect people to attend Carnival. I think Carnival will be well attended this year. The usual sentiment that goes along with Carnival, which is this is how Trinis express themselves, I don't think that that has changed. So we are looking forward to a successful season in 2024.
What about the cost associated with throwing these vets? I know major concerns there as well. Again, comments that have been expressed previously. Have things settled a bit there?
No, they haven't. I think that the costs that we saw rising in the last few years because of all of the prevailing circumstances globally, those costs are there. Things have not reduced in price, and generally, instead of seeing a change in the price of particular kinds of FETs, what you may see is a change in the format of the event, so that the cost you pay for a ticket will be less for a different format of event. That's probably how you'll see event producers mitigating against cost increases, which they truly don't have a lot of control over.
Yes, indeed. It certainly can be challenging in those instances. But what's another major cost? The cost of security now for hosting these events. Has that also proved challenging?
So, thankfully, the Event Producers Association has been in deep talks with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, with the Fire Service, and as well as other persons who are actors in the security space. We are aware that there are new and very significant responsibilities placed on people who are having events. So we're doing everything that we can from a lobby level, from an administrative level, both internally and in terms of how we interact with the stakeholders, as well as in that execution of events. We are mindful that we have to look very closely at what the social scenario is and ensure that, as we've always done, event space is a safe space. Thankfully, we have had a culture of safe events in Trinidad and Tobago, particularly when it comes to Carnival. We have done a great job of that, and we don't see the challenge people are having in other areas filtering into the event space. We have not seen that, and we are hopeful that that continues. We're doing everything we can to make sure it does.
Now, has the association seen some success in its fight to have the process for staging events standardized here in TNT? There was a lot of confusion associated with that. Has that, have you guys seen some sort of reprieve from that issue?
The process has not changed, unfortunately. Of course, after you're doing it for a very long time, you become an old hand at it, but the process is the same, and we've taken a decision that what we're going to do is to have individual conversations with each of the actors that we have to engage with during the season, so that we can have some kind of agreement as to how we go forward. Those conversations have been successful in large part, but what really does need to change is the overarching system. That's a legislative issue, that's a government policy issue, and we keep working on that, because of course it's difficult to change policy and to change legislation, and you need a certain amount of critical mass to be able to initiate that change. So we are still working on it, but we are doing our best to make sure we have good relationships with all of the actors in the stakeholder space for event producers.
Having such good relationships is very important, and I'm glad that the association is building on such. However, such uncertainties or a lack of clarity, is that in any way stifling the association or its membership?
It has always made things terribly difficult, which is why we started building this advocacy platform to get those things to change. So it is always difficult. It does make it difficult for new producers to come into this space. So the barriers to entry are reasonably high for anyone coming in. So it continues to be a challenge, but we are working to ensure that even if we can't fix the overarching problem today, we are looking at those underlying relationship issues that have made it much more, straightforward for us to get our things done. I think the conversations and the relationships have really, really helped, but we do need to get the system changed. And isn't that, what all types of advocacy really are for? To change systems as opposed to change, the symptoms of the systems.
Has there been any sort of clarity in regards to how many police officers or fire officers, for example, are needed as a vet? Any sort of ratio that has been stated?
So we have, in fact, had very productive and very deep conversations with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in particular. We have come to some kind of agreement, and certainly once that agreement is finalized and the TTPS and the TGPA and the other persons are satisfied that we can speak about it publicly, we will certainly share our agreements, with everyone. But we have been talking, and the talks have been going very, very well. So we're grateful to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service for engaging us so robustly in the last couple of months. There's been a lot of work done on this front.
Now, I know recently there has been a lot of questions surrounding copyright management organizations here in TNT and exactly who's the overall authority, because there's at least 3 that I'm aware of here in Trinidad and Tobago. That in itself, though, have you had conversations with the CMOs so that there is some level of clarity for the association as to exactly where or who the fees need to be paid to? Paying 3 different fees for one event is rather incredible if it's for a copyright management organization.
That is one of those very complicated scenarios that the TTPA has been wading through over the last 6 years. We have not come to a resolution. That's the truth. And we have been talking, but this one is a real challenge, and we do have to find a way through it, as we've hopefully now found a way through our challenges with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and with the fire services. We've hammered those out, and we're hoping to hammer the Copyright Association ones out, but it's still a challenge. And at this point, we're not sure where we're going to fall on which side of this issue.
Now, Mr. Leon, given that your association, I know that the association doesn't speak for all FET promoters, but it has at least 100 members or 100 promoters. If it's more, please correct me on your membership. But I know that many of them would throw events, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but outside as well, whether it be regional or internationally. Generally speaking, is the environment in Trinidad and Tobago easy to work in when throwing an event?
No, it's not. It's probably one of the more difficult spaces to work in. What's happened when we've done our analysis is that in the other spaces where carnival events are, staged, they have created a framework for the event to happen. Certainly that's been the case in the Caribbean islands. When you leave the Caribbean and you go to Europe, you go to the United States, you go to places like Dubai and Japan, they have an event culture that is very well structured, and so they have legislation and framework for any type of event. And a soca event, a carnival event, simply fits into that. The anomaly there will be the street parade aspect of it. And certainly those two have simply been able to be plugged in to the event system. So Trinidad does pose some particular challenges because our carnival and event space has always been organic Carnival is of the people, so that the systems are of the people and they have evolved and are evolving, as opposed to what you find in Jamaica, for example, where they have set up a framework so that this thing can happen in a way that allows the entrepreneur to thrive. That has not happened here so far. We would like it to happen. So we are hoping to convince the powers that be, for want of a better phrase, to help us create that environment that is tailored towards ensuring that this aspect of our tourism products thrives and does well going forward.
That is most incredible indeed. But as you said, it's the beginning of a very short season. Do you have any hopes or expectations in the 5 weeks ahead?
I am hoping that people continue to share joy, share love, share music, enjoy our culture. During the event period, Carnival is very, very important, we think, to the psychological well-being of our nation. And it's very important that we don't lose sight of how important it is for us to enjoy our lives. And that is what Carnival is about. It's about joy. And yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are things that aren't great. But we live in an amazing country. And this is one of the features of Trinidad and Tobago that makes it amazing. And we're hoping that people just live that like they've done in the past. We are seeing people doing that. So I am hopeful that we will continue to be as Trini as we've always been and do the things that we've done and keep enjoying ourselves and our lives and our event space and keep moving, our sensibility as a nation forward by holding on to those things that matter to us, that make us special, and not allowing circumstances to stop us from being who and what we are. That's what I'm hoping for.
Certainly. Well, Mr. Leon, I want to thank you very much. I know that you're an incredibly busy person, so thank you so much for joining me this morning on the program, for making the time to share your views on behalf of the association with AM Prime. And I wish you the best and the association the best in the 5 weeks ahead. I'll welcome you back to the program following this event season so that we can dissect all that would have taken place. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and of course, thanks to your viewers. We wish everyone a safe, enjoyable, and productive Carnival season 2024. Thank you.
Indeed. Take care very much. Ms. Paige de Leon, a spokesperson on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago Promoters Association, joining me on AM Prime this morning. Incredible how we are always speaking about Carnival, how important Carnival is, psychologically, culturally, economically, but there is no framework that is in place in regards to the staging of events. Even the conversations with the CMOs, that needs to be sorted out, but the statements regarding how Trinidad and Tobago may be one of the more difficult environments for staging events, well, that is incredible. We can only hope, though, for a successful season, as Ms. DeLon mentioned, and we certainly hope, can't stress on that enough, for a safe one. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this.
Here is the WESN News on the Hour. I am Sira Ali. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. NGC makes $2.38 billion in profit. Voluntary recall of one lot of bleomycin for injection. Regionally, Bahamas Prime Minister threatens criminals on crime. Now for the details. The National Gas Company Group has announced a profit of $2.38 billion, maintaining a position of profitability for the year ended 31st December 2022. This is just 5.2% lower than the $2.51 billion after-tax profit recorded in 2021, according to the 2022 summary consolidated financial statements. Chairman Dr. Joseph Ishmael Khan disclosed the NGC Group's profitability was driven by high energy commodity prices, which were boosted by the upward trend of market prices for the ammonia and natural gas liquids in 2022. He also noted that as an integrated energy company, the group was able to capture value across the natural gas value chain. There is a voluntary recall of one lot of bleomycin for injection, USP 15-unit single-dose oncotain glass flip-top vial. The recall was done by the Ministry of Health via its Drug Inspectorate Division. It was initiated due to a confirmed customer report for the presence of glass particulate within a single vial. The ministry advises persons who may be in possession of the recalled products with the listed lot numbers and expiration dates to discontinue use immediately and to return the product to the place of purchase where possible. In regional news, Bahamas Prime Minister Philip Davis issued a stern warning to criminals stating, "We are coming for you," expressing deep shock and sadness over the recent surge in murders in the Bahamas. Davis highlighted that within the first 7 days of the new year, the country has already recorded 8 homicides. Well, that's it to News on the Hour on WESN. I am Sarah Ali. Thank you for watching.
My name is Carl Media. I am the founder and the host of Ever Increasing Voice Ministries. Join me every Saturday and Sunday on WESN, this powerful station, at 9 a.m. on Saturdays, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. nightly. Also on Sundays, I'll be on at 7 a.m., 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. at night time. When you come here, we are getting people heavenly ready.
The newest book is here, Closer to the Church, the debut novel by author and former mayor Louis Lee Singh. Available at all the home store branches, Barataria, West Mall, Shogunas and C3 San Fernando. Paper-based bookshop 10 Nook Avenue St. Anne's, WESN 30A Gattaca Street Woodbrook, Metropolitan Bookshop Ariapita Avenue Woodbrook, and all RIK bookstores nationwide. Available online as paperback on Amazon.com and Kindle for e-readers. For more info, call 628-5835 or 389-6504. Also available from author Louis Lee Singh, I Used to Live in Heaven, Letters to My Granddaughters, and Local Government in Trinidad, Conspiracy Against the People.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AM Prime. I'll tell you what, let's get into some regional updates just to share with you now, starting with Barbados. The doors to a tissue culture laboratory will open in Barbados this month. Word of this came from Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security. Nutritional Security. Barbados has a Minister of Nutritional Security, Indar Weir, as he laid out his ministry's plans for the agriculture sector this year. He said the food terminal, that privatized sugar industry, and the Project Care initiative will make up the program for the industry. Let's take a look at this report from Barbados.
The minister said the developments in agriculture will be technology-driven and coming at an opportune time as the world is suffering from the shocks of supply chain issues. He said the green light for the funding was given in government's budget last year and it's full speed ahead.
Given the fact that we are experiencing some challenges globally with shipping and logistics, it is very important for us to be able to continue to grow our own food and not rely on imports totally. So that tissue culture lab, which is going to be started this month, will put us in a position where we can reach our food security objectives by way of helping farmers to set up nurseries on their farms, but also by way of us having our own seed bank, which is something I've spoken about on numerous occasions. And the time is here now where we have to get it done.
The minister explained the function of the tissue culture lab.
I've spoken to the investors yesterday, and they're confirming that they are ready now to start this month as well. So we will have some initial work starting on that food terminal. There were some designs that were submitted to Town Country Planning that were approved, but the investors are making some changes. Therefore, we will submit those changes, but we're good to go. And they have confirmed that they're going to start this month.
The minister said much attention will be focused on the sugar industry, which has been privatized, and the stakeholders have been cooperative with the transitioning process.
We've just transitioned from BAMC to a private entity that will allow for us to run this year's sugar harvest under private ownership, and at the same time allowing for us to maintain a relationship with our stakeholders through the BSIL, who have been very cooperative throughout this entire process. And I wish to thank them publicly for their cooperation and the support that they have given to us transitioning into a private industry.
Mr. Ware said Project Care, which will involve communities as well as the water augmentation program, would secure the future for agriculture.
The UN has committed that they will support these types of initiatives, and I'm definitely dependent on that kind of support. And then, of course, our water augmentation program, where we continue to build out dams. We're going to do one in St. John, working with Codrington Trust, and then we have to look and see how we can supply the north of the island, down at Mount Poyer and other places, to be able to supply the water that is needed.
The minister said 2024 will be an exciting year for agriculture, and a team of competent people has been selected to oversee Project Care.
Moving to Cuba now, tourism has long been one of the drivers of Cuba's economy, but the fallout from a steep drop in visitor numbers is forcing a growing number of people to leave the country. Despite the downturn, the state-run tourism body is building more hotels, while the homes of many ordinary people collapse. This report from Cuba.
In the Havana neighborhood of Vedado, 30 people live in this once posh two-story house. It's literally falling to pieces. This resident tells me his mother was killed when one of these wooden beams fell on top of her. They let me take a quick look inside, where the makeshift staircase feels equally unstable.
I've been living here since 1994, trying to get a proper dwelling, but there's nothing.
Everywhere you look, homes built before the 1959 revolution are collapsing. Yet simultaneously, a construction boom is underway, not for public housing, but for hotels. Last year, 8 enormous new hotels were inaugurated. Another 5 will be opened by December, and more will follow. The majority are owned and financed by Gaesa, the Cuban military's tourism company that owns 76% of 5-star hotels, and the majority of the rest. All this while Cuba's so-called economic engine continues to stall, as evidenced by these exquisite old convertibles standing idle in old Havana for lack of foreign tourists. For a modest fee, we are taken for a spin by Eric, who explains that millions of Cubans depend on tourism.
It's a chain. If I work, I spend money, and others make money, and so on and so forth. It's what makes the economy run. The prohibition of cruise ships imposed by Donald Trump has impacted us a lot, like his other sanctions.
In the last 6 months, only 28% of Cuba's hotel rooms have been occupied, and U.S. sanctions aren't the only reason. Officials concede that shortages or poor quality of food, fuel, transportation, and entertainment are also discouraging visitors. During the so-called golden years when President Barack Obama was in office, this whole area was absolutely full. Now, as you can see, the streets are empty. There are no tourists almost anywhere. So the big question is, why are they building so many new hotels? One clue is that while emblematic structures like the Art Deco Riviera Hotel remain closed, new hotels are being built with government money on property not being claimed in U.S. courts by their pre-revolution owners. Many speculate that should Cuba's one-party state system eventually change, they could then be bought and sold. Industry officials insist they're simply preparing for a tourism boom, comparable to Cuba's pre-revolution days. A feat that will take more than just new hotels.
Continuing with our regional updates this morning, we take a look at Jamaica now. In a rare show of unity last week, Wednesday, leaders of both major political parties pledged to work together to stamp out the bane of violence in Jamaica and achieve peace that the citizens desire. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who leads the governing Jamaican Labour Party, or JLP, and Mark Golding, president of the opposition People's National Party, or PNP, used the fourth staging of the annual National Day of Prayer, held under the theme Heal the Family, Heal the Nation, to demonstrate this new alliance. We take a look at this report from Jamaica.
Political and spiritual leaders side by side at the Power of Faith Ministries in Portmore St. Catherine for the 4th annual National Day of Prayer on Wednesday. Under the theme, Restoring the Heart of Our Nation as One Family, Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Opposition Leader Mark Golding agreed to put politics aside as they work together on addressing the issue of peace in Jamaica.
This is what the people of Jamaica want to see. They want to see us coming together in unity so that we can collectively face all the challenges of the nation and overcome them for the benefit of this generation and generations to come.
For Prime Minister Holness, the major issue all parties must work on is not so much with crime, but violence and conflicts. He relayed a conversation with a woman on New Year's Eve.
I said to her, you know, this year, serious crimes are the lowest they have been in 22 years. About 4,500 compared to sometimes as high as 9,000 reported serious crimes. And she still said to me, Prime Minister, you need to do something about the crime.
He said he found her insistence telling.
That though our economy is doing well, though we are building the infrastructure, though the statistic murders are going down, violent crimes, serious crimes are going down, how people feel, what they are being exposed to, what comes across on their social media, it is having an impact on our mental health. It is having an impact on how we perceive our well-being.
And so he says the time has finally come to put years of talk about working with the church on a national peace plan into action.
I have received the preliminary results from the National Violence Prevention Commission, and we're going to start working on those to see how we can incorporate, not to the exclusion of anybody, everybody will be involved, and I have to be speaking very carefully because I don't want anybody to feel they'll be left out, but since I'm at the church, which will have many faith-based initiatives to treat with this issue of violence.
And now to Antigua and Barbuda. Business operators could be hauled before the courts if they do not comply with the law when displaying prices. Businesses are urged to ensure that the prices that consumers see on shelves are the same figure they will pay at the cash register. This includes ensuring prices are adjusted to include the full 17% Antigua and Barbuda sales tax for applicable goods and services.
Director of the Prices and Consumer Affairs Division, Orin Steele, points to an area of concern which must be addressed by business operators.
I know some businesses are having challenges in terms of they would have changed the prices in the system, but they don't have the manpower to change all the items on the shelf, right? And I think that is going to pose a challenge for some of the consumers, at least maybe for this week.
The division is not ruling out taking enforcement action against offending business establishments beyond this period. Steele also makes it clear that the prices displayed must be what is charged at the cash register. Therefore, the tax must be included for goods and services, except for those that are zero rated. He is encouraging consumers to verify prices before agreeing to purchase. The division is also reminding consumers prices may go up more than the additional 2 percentage points from the ABSD increase. This may be due to the increasing cost to purchase stock.
Should I say 90%, maybe even more than 90% of our goods here are imported. So if their price would have gone up from the supplier overseas, naturally the price on the shelf would be increased as well. Generally, the business owners don't absorb the cost of any increases, they just pass it on to the consumers.
There is also a reminder for service providers, including operators of restaurants. The prices displayed should include the ABSD. That is, it should not be an add-on when bills are presented. Steele says the division has already been getting consumer complaints.
They went to a particular restaurant and the price just is $50 for chicken pasta. They just assumed that they had to pay the 10%, which is actually correct for the service charge if they charge a service charge. But this business was displaying the prices without the ABSD inclusive in the price. So just reminding restaurant owners as well that you are required to include the ABSD in your pricing as well. Do not exclude it and then charge the consumers at the end, because nobody's supposed to be paying anything outside of, because any price displayed should include the ABSD already inclusive in the price as well.
Business operators are being urged to take heed.
All right, moving now to Ghana. Ghana has officially started its term on the United Nations Security Council as of last Tuesday. Last year, Ghana was elected to serve a 2-year term on the 15-member panel. So this update from Ghana.
Guyana officially started its term on the United Nations Security Council on Tuesday. Now, Ghana was elected to serve on this council last year, and it will serve a 2-year term there. Now, Guyana is now part of a 15-member council, which is one of the main organs of the United Nations. And essentially, the Security Council is responsible for the maintenance of international peace. So it deals with things like preventing conflict, wars, and even genocide. There are 5 permanent members of this council: China, France, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia. And then there are 10 non-permanent members. Guyana is one such non-permanent member. Now, officially marking the commencement of Guyana's term was a flag installation ceremony. Guyana and 4 other countries installed their flags at the office of the UN Security Council in New York. Guyana's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Caroline Rodriguez-Burkett, was the one who installed Guyana's flag. And she spoke about some of what Guyana hopes to achieve while on the Security Council.
Guyana has never wavered in its commitment to multilateralism and to promoting the principles and purposes of the United Nations. Guyana's pledge, therefore, led by His Excellency President Mohamed Irfan Ali, is to be guided by a firm adherence to the rule of international law, including the Charter of the United Nations, and to continue to work collaboratively to strengthen universal peace and security for a better world.
In a nutshell, what Ghana really hopes to show countries everywhere is that it is committed to international law and multilateralism, which is essentially cooperating with countries across the region and all across the globe. The country also intends on focusing on key global issues that have a direct bearing on people right here in Guyana. Issues such as climate change, conflict, and food insecurity are among those that will be addressed by Guyana while serving on the Security Council. It must be noted that this is the third time Guyana is serving on the UN Security Council. It previously served on this council in the 70s and then again in the 80s.
Well, that's it, so ladies and gentlemen, for regional updates. Before we end AM Prime for today, the funeral of Trinidad and Tobago's fifth Prime Minister, Bastio Pandey, begins at 9 a.m. this morning. Over 700 guests are expected to attend, including dignitaries and diplomats. Beyond that, there is a limited available spaces for members of the public to view the ceremony at the car park of the Southern Academy for the Performing Arts. The funeral will take place under Hindu rites, following which Mr. Pandey would be cremated. It's due to begin, as I said, at 9 a.m. Part of the entire service would include President of the Republic, Christine Kangaloo, being included in the program. It's expected to be about 2.5 hours long. Ladies and gentlemen, to the entire Pandey family, our sincerest condolences and deepest sympathies. But we thank Mr. Pandey for his service to Trinidad and Tobago, and may he rest in peace. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for AM Prime. I'm Keaton Shaw, and I thank you very much for joining me this morning, and thank you to all of my guests. Wishing you a safe day ahead, productive day ahead. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning for AM Prime 1 WESN Content Capital at 6 o'clock. But until then, keep well.
WESN.
I am Sule A. Joseph, and we are WESN, Content Capital.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the Content Capital.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this: screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity, from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you, what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through? Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing on.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is it no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
The newest book is here, Closer to the Church, the debut novel by author and former Mayor Louis Lee Singh. Available at all the Home Store branches, Barataria, West Mall, Shogunas and C3 San Fernando. Paper-based bookshop 10 Nook Avenue, St. Anne's. WESN 30A Gattaca Street, Woodbrook. Metropolitan Bookshop, Ariapita Avenue, Woodbrook, and all RIK bookstores nationwide. Available online as paperback on Amazon.com and Kindle for e-readers. For more info, call 628-5835 or 389-6504. Also available from author Louis Lee Singh, I Used to Live in Heaven, Letters to My Granddaughters, and Local Government in Trinidad, Conspiracy Against the People.
We are WESN, the premier platform for Caribbean content. WESN, covering West, East, South, and North. WESN, we entertainment, sports, and news. WESN, available on Greendot 7, Amplia 118, Airlink 17, Bmobile 107, Digicel 21, ICNTT 105, and Flow 110. Connect with us at WESNCC or stream online at www.wesncc.com. WESN, your premier platform for Caribbean content.
His death comes 1 week following the assassination of Hamas's deputy chief Saleh al-Aruri in Beirut, and on the same day as the death of another Hamas official who was located in Syria.
In Syria, we have eliminated Hassan Haq al-Shah in Beit Jan, who was responsible for launching rockets by the Hamas terror organization from Syrian territory towards Israel in recent weeks. We will keep operating against Hamas leadership.
As U.S. top diplomat Antony Blinken is on a Middle East tour to prevent tensions from spiraling out of control, the recent assassinations have sparked fears that the conflict will spread across the region.
Now, in the U.S., controversy is growing over Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. He's facing growing criticism for waiting days to inform the White House and Congress about being hospitalized, keeping key officials in the dark during the major Middle East crisis. Austin was admitted to hospital on New Year's Day over complications from an elective medical procedure, but the Pentagon did not make any public announcement until 4 days later, also waiting to tell other top government figures. Our Washington correspondent Fraser Jackson explains.
Lloyd Austin has been in hospital for over a week. So let's go over why exactly he has been in hospital and how long it's been. So on the 22nd of December, he went into hospital for what is being called elective surgery and was released the following day. However, just over a week later, on the 1st of January, he was readmitted into Walter Reed with severe pain. Now, we're not being told about what other conditions he had. All we know is it was severe pain that got him to go back into hospital. But we do know that the pain was severe enough and serious enough for him to be admitted into the ICU, the intensive care unit at Walter Reed Hospital. The next day, he was relieved of some of his duties. He handed some of his duties over to the Deputy Defence Secretary, Kathleen Hicks, but gave no reason as to why that was being put onto her plate. And it wasn't until a few days after that, on Thursday, the 4th of January, that officials were told that he was even in the hospital. That includes Joe Biden. It also includes Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, and also Kathleen Hicks herself, the deputy, who was on holiday at the time in Puerto Rico. But we are told she did have the tools needed to do that job, even though she was on holiday. And it's quite common for duties to be shifted to the deputy without a reason being given. However, this is becoming very embarrassing for Joe Biden and his administration. People are asking how he could not know where his defense secretary was at a very critical time. It's also raised issues of transparency, people asking who was actually in charge of national security at the time that Lloyd Austin was in hospital without the rest of the administration knowing, and especially at a time when two of the United States' closest allies, Ukraine and Israel, are also engaged in US-backed military operations.
Both United Airlines and Alaska Airlines have said they have found loose parts on some of their grounded Boeing 737 MAX 9s. That's the latest development in the aftermath of a dramatic mid-flight incident. On Friday, a panel blew off an Alaska Airlines MAX 9 passenger plane. Although no one was harmed, there has been a wave of concern over how the company manufactures the jets and whether they're safe to fly. Charlotte Hughes reports.
It's a troubling discovery that has deepened Boeing's latest 737 MAX crisis. United Airlines said it has found bolts in need of additional tightening during initial inspections of its grounded 737 MAX 9s after a dramatic mid-flight incident last week on an Alaska Airlines plane of the same kind.
Since we began preliminary inspections on Saturday, we have found instances that appear to relate to installation issues in the door plug. For example, bolts that needed additional tightening.
United, which has 79 MAX 9s, the largest fleet worldwide, said it had cancelled 200 flights as of Monday and expected significant cancellations on Tuesday. The comments came hours before Alaska Airlines, the other US carrier that operates the jet, reported it had found loose hardware on some of its grounded MAX 9 aircraft. Boeing, meanwhile, said it would help customers address any findings during inspections. US regulators grounded 171 MAX 9s after a panel blew off an Alaska Airlines passenger plane not long after it took off from Portland, forcing pilots to make an emergency landing. The missing section of the plane was found in the back garden of a Portland teacher. Alaska Airlines is facing scrutiny after investigators revealed that the company had placed restrictions on the plane due to several pressurization warnings days before the blowout. It is not clear if there is a link between the issues that led to those warnings and Friday's incident. These recent findings have sparked fresh safety concerns about Boeing's best-selling jet family. It's another blow for the company, whose 737 MAX has been described as the most scrutinised transport aircraft in history after a series of safety issues. 2 of its jets crashed in 2018 and 2019, killing 346 people, which led to all MAX 8 and MAX 9 planes